Be good while I film this. Hey girl, hey. Hey. Hey.
Yeah, what's up?
Hello guys and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to tell a story that I have told before, and that is Aliza's birth story. Here's Aliza being a crazy pants. Yeah. I wanted to remake this video because my friend told me that I could use her studio and her DSLR camera so it looks better quality for you guys. So I'm just going to get right into this because I don't have a lot of memory on this memory card. So I was admitted to the hospital 9 days before I was to be induced with Aliza because I had some previous complications. I'm not going to get into that. If you would like to see like a video about my high-risk pregnancy, leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to film that. I was at my doctor's appointment and they were like, okay, we are going to take you over to triage, to labor and delivery. And I was like, okay. A doctor comes in and it's like, oh, we're going to induce you. So they get the ultrasound machine and they make sure the baby's head down, and she is. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm waiting, and then 3 doctors come in and tell me that they are actually not going to induce me. They're going to keep me in the hospital for 9 days and then induce me. So I was really mad, and I was like, no, I'm just going to leave. I'm going home, and I tried to sign myself out AMA. For the first time, AMA is against medical advice if you're not familiar with that terminology. And they told me that I was going to be induced when I was 39 weeks and 1 day pregnant because on my 39th week, they did not have any opening. 2 days before I was supposed to be induced, they actually came in and were like, somebody that was supposed to be induced tomorrow went into labor naturally, so we are going to induce you tomorrow. And I was like, oh my god, like, I thought I had a whole extra day. I started panicking. They told me that I was going to be induced at 2 p.m. A doctor came in at 7 o'clock in the morning and told me that they were going to try and start early, and I was like, okay, you guys, you're taking this way too quick. First, I was supposed to have a whole extra day, and now you're telling me you're going to start earlier than when I was supposed to start. Like, this is moving so fast. And they didn't tell me what time, and she was like, try to get some sleep. I was like, I'm not going to get some sleep after you told me that you're inducing me early. So about 2 hours later, they brought me to the labor and delivery room, and they started with this medication called Cervidil, and it's basically a shoelace that goes up, and it's supposed to dilate and efface your cervix. Well, after 12 hours, it still hadn't worked. They decided that they were going to try Cervidil again overnight. So they put the medication in, and immediately her heart rate started dropping. The only position that her heart rate stayed steady was if I was sitting up. So they put some Benadryl in my IV to put me to sleep. That sounded horrible. They put some Benadryl in my IV to make me go to sleep, and I woke up the next morning, and the doctor came in and was like, we need to get more aggressive. I was like, okay, I agree, what do we do? So she's like, we're going to put in your epidural, and then we're going to take a catheter and put it inside your cervix and blow it up with a balloon. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And then I waited for like 4 hours. Literally waited for 4 hours, and the anesthesiologist came in and was like, oh, sorry, there was a couple emergency C-sections, so I was doing that, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, just do it. Like, let's just get it over with. So he's putting the epidural in, and I'm at a teaching hospital, so it's a resident doctor. It is not an attending doctor trying to put it in. And he keeps hitting a nerve, and my leg keeps jumping, and he's like, you need to stop moving. And I'm like, you're hitting my nerve. I can't stop moving. It's literally involuntary. So the attending doctor took over and ended up doing it. Thank the Lord for her. After the epidural was in, they placed the catheter in my cervix and blew it up. And about an hour later, I was like, I think it's done. Like, I don't know, it feels weird. She's like, it usually takes a couple hours. I'm like, can you just check because I feel like it's done? She's like, yeah, okay. So she checks, it's completely out, and she's like, oh, okay, cool. So now we start Pitocin. I'm like, okay, cool. And then she's like, why don't you try to take a nap? I was like, good idea. So I rolled over and I tried to go to sleep. Woke up like a half hour later, and I was like, I think my water just broke. And she's like, oh, no, probably not. Like, usually we have to break your water. I'm like, it's still, like, my water broke. And she's like, oh, okay, let me come check. So she came and checked, and of course my water had broken. It was getting really close to shift change. So I did a couple of pushes with the doctor in the room, and she's like, okay, I think it's going to be a while. I'm going to leave you with the nurse. I pushed a couple more times with her, and then shift change nurse came in to get caught up to speed, and I was in the middle of a push, and she was like, do you think we should call the doctor? And the other nurse is like, yeah, like now? And I'm like, okay, whatever, you know. So the doctor comes in, she washes her hands, she puts her mask on, she puts booties on her feet, she's putting her gloves on, and I'm like, okay, I feel another contraction. They're like, okay, push. So I push, and as soon as I pushed, I just felt my stomach collapse. My baby landed in between my legs and nobody caught her. The doctor turned around mid-push. Her face turned white as a ghost and her jaw dropped to the floor. So that was insane. So I feel the baby wiggling a little, but she's not crying, and I'm like, why isn't she crying? Like, aren't babies supposed to cry? And everybody's just looking at each other like shocked that that just happened, because usually, like, they catch the baby. And all of a sudden she lets out a cry, and I was like, thank the Lord. And they put her on my chest, and then I tore pretty bad, so they took her away, and the doctor was stitching me up, and she was so pretty, guys. She was so pretty. I was like complimenting her eyebrows and stuff. It was a little ridiculous, and I think she probably felt pretty uncomfortable. Aliza was born April 27th at 10:59 p.m. weighing 6 pounds and 9 ounces. So it took them about an hour to stitch me up, and then they handed her back to me, and I nursed her for the first time. And as you can see, we are now on our 8th month of nursing almost, and I don't see us stopping anytime soon. So that was my pretty traumatic birth story. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you are new here and you just stumbled upon this video, please hit the subscribe button. We are daily vloggers. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And we will see you guys tomorrow for our next video. We hope you guys have a great day. And here is the finished product. I was like, okay, you know, it's fine. We'll get through it. We'll do it. Oh my gosh, are you okay? Oh my goodness. Her face turned white as a ghost. Now, my baby landed. How do I stop this?